My wife stole $75,000 during our divorce. The judge's reaction shocked everyone in that courtroom. Before watching this video, tell us in the comments from where you are watching this so we can know more about our audience. My name is Marcus Thompson, and I live in Denver, Colorado. I am 34 years old and work as an electrical contractor. I have been married to Sarah for 8 wonderful years. Sarah handled all our money matters during our entire marriage. I trusted her completely with our bank accounts and credit cards. She paid all our bills and managed our family budget perfectly. I worked 60-hour weeks to provide for our comfortable lifestyle. Sarah stayed home and took care of our beautiful house. We had built what I thought was the perfect life together. Our marriage seemed strong and our future looked incredibly bright. I never questioned Sarah's financial decisions or spending habits at all. She always explained our expenses in ways that made perfect sense. Sarah told me about our savings account growing every single month. I believed we had around $85,000 saved up. She showed me bank statements that proved our financial success. I felt proud of how well we managed our money together. Sarah insisted on handling all our tax preparations by herself each year. She met with our accountant and financial advisor without me present. I trusted her judgment completely and never asked detailed questions. This trust would soon become my biggest mistake in life. Everything changed when I discovered Sarah's affair with her personal trainer. I found text messages on her phone that broke my heart. She had been seeing him for over 6 months secretly. The betrayal felt like a knife stabbing through my chest repeatedly. I confronted Sarah about the affair that same terrible evening. She admitted everything and said she wanted a divorce immediately. I agreed because our marriage was clearly over at that point. We decided to make the divorce process as simple as possible. Sarah and I agreed on most terms during our initial discussions. We would split our assets 50-50 like most divorced couples. She would keep the house, and I would find somewhere else. I would take half of our savings account for my future. Sarah seemed reasonable about dividing our possessions and debts fairly. We both wanted to avoid expensive lawyers and lengthy court battles. I thought our divorce would be finished within a few months. Sarah assured me she had prepared all our financial documents accurately. I believed her because she had always handled money responsibly. I filed the divorce papers at the courthouse the following week. The legal process seemed straightforward and relatively simple at first. Sarah provided financial disclosure forms listing all our assets and debts. Everything appeared normal and matched what I expected to see. Our savings account showed $85,000 just like always. Our credit cards had reasonable balances that we could pay off. I felt confident that our financial situation was exactly right. The divorce would give me a fresh start with good money. During the discovery phase, I requested copies of recent bank statements. I wanted to verify our account balances before finalizing everything permanently. Sarah seemed nervous when I asked for the financial documents. She said she would gather everything together within a few days. I thought her hesitation was just normal divorce stress and anxiety. Everyone feels emotional pressure during divorce proceedings like these. Sarah finally provided the bank statements after delaying for 2 weeks. I opened the envelope, expecting to see our usual account balance. My heart stopped when I saw the actual numbers on paper. Our joint savings account contained only $10,000 total. $75,000 had disappeared from our account completely without explanation. I read the statement 3 times to make sure absolutely. The money was really gone, and I had no idea where. Sarah had somehow stolen $75,000 from our marriage. This theft happened while we were going through divorce proceedings. I felt sick to my stomach reading those terrible numbers. I immediately called Sarah to demand an explanation for the missing money. She claimed the money went to household expenses and necessities only. Her explanation made no sense because our monthly expenses never changed. Sarah became defensive and hostile when I pressed for more details. She refused to provide documentation showing where the money actually went. I knew she was lying about everything related to our finances. Sarah had been systematically stealing from our joint account for months. She used our divorce filing as cover for her theft. I realized that Sarah had planned this financial betrayal very carefully. She knew I would discover the missing money during divorce proceedings. Sarah hired an expensive divorce attorney using our stolen $75,000. She was using my own money to fight against me. The betrayal felt even worse than discovering her original affair. Sarah had violated my trust in the most devastating way possible. I decided to fight back with everything I had available. This financial war was just beginning, and I would not surrender. The discovery phase of our divorce required complete financial disclosure. Both Sarah and I had to provide 3 years' worth. I gathered my business records and personal tax returns quickly. Sarah said she needed more time to organize everything properly. I gave her 2 weeks to collect all our documents. She seemed nervous about providing the bank statements and records. I thought this was normal anxiety about divorce proceedings happening. Sarah finally handed me a thick envelope with our statements. I opened it expecting to see our usual account balances. What I found inside changed my life forever in terrible ways. The bank records showed multiple large cash withdrawals over months. Sarah had taken out $5,000 in cash. These withdrawals happened almost every single week for 15 weeks. Sarah never mentioned these large cash withdrawals to me. I had no idea she was taking money regularly. The cash withdrawals totaled $75,000 exactly from records. Sarah had systematically drained our account using cash transactions. She knew cash withdrawals would be harder to trace. This was clearly a planned and calculated theft operation. I also discovered transfers to unknown bank accounts regularly. Sarah had moved money to accounts I never knew. These transfers happened on the same days as withdrawals. Sarah was moving our money to hide it completely. She had opened secret accounts without telling me anything. These accounts were probably in her name only for. Sarah was systematically stealing and hiding our marital assets during. The transfers showed clear intent to defraud me financially. This was not accidental or careless money management at all. Sarah had hired an expensive divorce attorney using our money. Her lawyer charged $500 per hour for services. Sarah paid a $10,000 retainer fee up front. She was using my own money to fight against. This felt like the ultimate betrayal and insult to me. Sarah was stealing our savings to pay her legal. I was funding my own destruction in our divorce proceedings. The irony made me feel sick and angry simultaneously. Sarah had planned this financial attack very carefully and systematically. I felt completely betrayed on multiple levels by Sarah's actions. The affair had broken my heart, but this was. Sarah had violated my trust in the most devastating way. She had stolen our future security and retirement savings completely. Sarah knew this money represented years of hard work. I had worked 60-hour weeks to build our savings. Sarah threw away everything we had built together for years. She chose her selfish desires over our marriage and future. This financial betrayal hurt worse than discovering her original affair. I decided to fight back with everything I had available. Sarah thought she could steal my money and walk. I would not let her destroy my financial future. This was war, and I intended to win completely. Sarah had made the biggest mistake of her entire. I contacted a lawyer immediately to discuss my legal options. The battle for my stolen money was just beginning now. I knew I needed professional legal help to fight Sarah. I researched divorce attorneys in Denver for 3 days straight. Janet Rodriguez had excellent reviews for handling financial fraud cases. She specialized in complex divorce cases involving hidden assets, and her office agreed to see me the very next day. I gathered all the bank statements and financial documents available. Janet needed to see everything to understand my case completely. I felt nervous, but determined to get my money back. This meeting would determine my chances of financial recovery, and Janet's expertise would be crucial for winning against Sarah's theft. Janet reviewed my financial documents carefully for 2 full hours. She asked detailed questions about Sarah's spending habits and behavior. I explained the warning signs I had ignored for months. Janet nodded knowingly as I described Sarah's secretive financial actions. She said financial fraud during divorce was unfortunately very common. Many spouses try to hide or steal assets before. Janet assured me that I had a strong case. She explained that courts take financial deception very seriously. Judges often punish spouses who try to cheat thee. Janet felt confident we could recover my stolen money. Janet recommended hiring a forensic accountant to trace the funds. She suggested David Chen, who specialized in financial investigations like. David's job would be analyzing our financial records systematically, and he would trace where every dollar of stolen money. Forensic accountants can find hidden assets and secret accounts easily. David's report would provide crucial evidence for our court case. Janet explained that judges trust forensic accountant testimony highly in. The cost would be expensive but necessary for proving. I agreed to hire David immediately, despite the financial burden. I felt overwhelmed by the legal costs piling up quickly. Janet charged $400 per hour for her services. David's forensic investigation would cost at least $10,000. These expenses were draining my remaining financial resources rapidly after I was spending my emergency fund to fight for. The irony was not lost on me at all. Sarah had stolen my money, and now I knew I had no choice but to fight. Giving up would mean losing everything I had worked for. David began his forensic investigation within 3 days of hiring. He requested 5 years of bank statements and records. David also needed credit card statements and tax returns. I provided access to all our joint accounts immediately. David explained his systematic approach to tracing stolen funds, and he would analyze every transaction looking for suspicious patterns. David could identify transfers to hidden accounts or cash. His investigation would take approximately 4 weeks to complete thoroughly. The waiting period felt like an eternity to me. I provided David with detailed information about Sarah's spending habits. I explained her expensive shopping trips and spa visits. David was particularly interested in the large cash withdrawals. He said cash was often used to hide stolen. David asked about any new credit cards Sarah opened. I told him about the secret cards I discovered. David would investigate these accounts thoroughly for evidence of fraud. Every detail I provided helped build a stronger case. My testimony would be crucial for David's final report. David discovered that Sarah had opened secret credit cards. These cards were in both our names, without consent. Sarah had maxed out the cards within just months. She used them for expensive purchases and cash advances. David found evidence of forged signatures on several applications. Sarah had signed my name without my knowledge, or this constituted identity theft, in addition to financial fraud. The evidence was building against Sarah's claims of innocence. David's investigation was revealing the full extent of deception. The forensic investigation also revealed transfers to offshore accounts. Sarah had moved money to accounts outside the country. These transfers were designed to hide assets from discovery. David could trace the money despite her efforts too. International transfers required extensive paperwork and documentation, This evidence proved Sarah had planned her theft She knew exactly what she was doing when stealing. The offshore accounts showed clear intent to defraud permanently. Janet prepared a comprehensive legal strategy based on David's findings. She would file motions for immediate asset recovery, and the court would be asked to freeze Sarah's accounts. Janet also planned to request financial sanctions against Sarah. We had strong evidence of fraud and identity theft. Janet felt confident about winning in court completely against. David's report would provide undeniable proof of Sarah's financial. The evidence was overwhelming, and the judge would see clearly. David's forensic investigation uncovered devastating evidence against Sarah's financial claims. The bank records showed $45,000 transferred to accounts. These transfers happened over 6 months in small amounts. Sarah moved the money gradually to avoid detection from. Each transfer was perfectly timed with my work schedule. She knew I would not check our accounts. The transfers went to a personal account opened secretly. Sarah had established this account without my knowledge or consent. David traced every single dollar that Sarah had moved. The evidence was overwhelming and completely undeniable in every single. Credit card statements revealed $20,000 in luxury purchases. Sarah had bought designer handbags worth $5,000 each. She purchased expensive jewelry, including diamond earrings and gold bracelets. Sarah bought designer clothes from the most expensive stores. These purchases happened during our marriage while she claimed. Sarah never showed me these expensive items at our home. She was hiding the purchases somewhere else entirely from. David found receipts for items I had never seen. Sarah was living a secret luxury lifestyle with money. The credit card evidence proved her lies about expenses. Another $10,000 went directly to her boyfriend's expenses. Sarah paid for his gym membership and personal training. She bought him expensive workout clothes and protein supplements. Sarah even paid for his apartment rent for months. David found payments to restaurants where they ate together. Sarah was financing her affair with our marital savings account. She was using my hard-earned money to support man. This discovery made me feel sick and betrayed again. Sarah had stolen my money to fund her adultery. The evidence showed clear financial abuse and intentional deception. David discovered that Sarah bought expensive jewelry she claimed was. She told me her diamond necklace was stolen from. Sarah filed a false insurance claim for the missing. The jewelry was never stolen, but hidden in locations. David found the purchase receipts and insurance claim documents. Sarah had committed insurance fraud in addition to theft. She collected $3,000 from our insurance company. This false claim was another layer of financial deception. Sarah was systematically defrauding multiple parties, including me, and the evidence showed a pattern of calculated criminal behavior. The investigation revealed forged signatures on several important financial documents. Sarah had signed my name on credit card applications. She opened business accounts using my social security number. Sarah forged my signature on loan applications and contracts. David compared the forged signatures with my real ones. The differences were obvious to any handwriting expert available. Sarah had committed identity theft multiple times during marriage. She used my identity to access credit and loans. This evidence would be crucial for criminal charges later. Sarah's forgeries were clear violations of federal banking laws. Sarah had opened a secret business account using information. She registered a fake business to hide stolen assets. The business account contained $15,000 of money. Sarah used this account to pay her personal expenses. She transferred money from our joint account to business. This fake business was another tool for hiding assets. David found all the registration documents and bank statements. Sarah had planned this deception for over 1 year. She knew exactly how to hide money from discovery. The business account proved premeditated financial fraud and theft. David's investigation showed that Sarah planned her financial theft carefully. She researched offshore banking and asset protection strategies online. Sarah visited websites about hiding money during divorce proceedings. She downloaded guides about protecting assets from spouses, and Sarah had been planning her escape for over a year. The internet search history showed clear intent to defraud. She knew her actions were illegal and harmful too. Sarah chose to steal anyway, because she thought the evidence proved this was not accidental or impulsive. Sarah had deliberately planned to destroy my financial future. Additional evidence showed Sarah had sold some of jewelry. She sold her wedding ring and engagement ring secretly. Sarah received $8,000 for the rings combined. She sold other jewelry gifts I had given her. The pawn shop receipts showed dates during our marriage. Sarah was converting our assets to cash systematically, and she sold items with sentimental value without any remorse. These sales happened while she pretended to love me. Sarah was already planning her exit while acting like. The jewelry sales proved her complete lack of respect. David prepared a comprehensive 40-page report detailing all evidence. The report included bank statements, credit card records, and every transaction was analyzed and categorized by David's team. The evidence showed a clear pattern of financial abuse. Sarah had stolen $75,000 through multiple methods. The report would be presented to the judge clearly. David's professional analysis left no room for doubt about. Janet reviewed the report and felt completely confident about. The evidence was so strong that Sarah could not. We had built an unbeatable case against Sarah's theft. Janet developed an aggressive legal strategy to recover my money. She filed multiple motions for immediate asset recovery and sanctions. The first motion requested freezing all of Sarah's bank accounts. Janet wanted to prevent Sarah from hiding more assets. The second motion demanded complete financial disclosure from Sarah immediately. Janet also filed for contempt charges against Sarah's deception. She requested emergency hearings to address the missing funds. Janet explained that speed was crucial in financial fraud. Sarah could move more money if we delayed action. The court system needed to act quickly to protect assets. The court ordered Sarah to provide complete financial disclosure immediately. She had 10 days to produce all bank statements. Sarah must provide credit card records for 3 years. The judge demanded documentation for every single transaction over dollars. Sarah's attorney tried to delay the proceedings with motions. They claimed they needed more time to gather documents. Janet objected strongly to any delays in the case. She argued that Sarah had already hidden evidence for. The judge agreed and refused to grant any extensions. Sarah would face contempt charges if she missed deadlines. Janet requested contempt charges against Sarah for her financial misconduct. The evidence showed clear violations of court disclosure orders. Sarah had hidden assets and provided false financial information. Contempt charges could result in jail time for Sarah. The judge would have multiple options for punishing her. Sarah could face fines, imprisonment, or both for contempt. Janet explained that judges take financial deception very seriously. Courts have zero tolerance for spouses who hide assets. Sarah's behavior warranted the strongest possible legal response from. The contempt motion would send a clear message about. I provided detailed testimony about Sarah's secretive financial behavior during. I explained how she gradually became defensive about money. Sarah started hiding bank statements and credit card bills. She refused to discuss our financial situation with me. I testified about her expensive shopping trips and purchases. Sarah spent thousands of dollars without consulting me at all. I described how she opened credit cards without permission. My testimony painted a clear picture of Sarah's deception. The court needed to understand her pattern of financial. My first-hand account would be crucial evidence against her. The legal team prepared comprehensive evidence charts and financial timelines. Janet organized all the bank records chronologically for presentation. David's forensic report was summarized into easy-to-understand charts, and the evidence showed exactly when each theft occurred during. Visual presentations would help the judge understand the case. Complex financial data needed to be presented clearly, and Janet created timelines showing Sarah's spending patterns over months. The charts proved that Sarah's theft was systematic, and visual evidence would be more powerful than words alone. The judge would see the theft pattern immediately with. Janet explained how judges typically handle financial fraud cases like. Most judges award full restitution plus penalties to victims. Courts often grant additional compensation for legal expenses incurred. Judges frequently award more than 50% of assets. Financial fraud is considered a serious violation of trust. The legal system protects innocent spouses from financial abuse. Sarah's behavior would likely anger any reasonable judge hearing. Janet felt confident about winning a favorable judgment for. The law was clearly on my side in this. Sarah had violated multiple laws and court rules already. The court scheduled emergency hearings to address the missing funds. We would present our evidence within 2 weeks' time. Sarah's attorney would have opportunity to defend her actions. Janet prepared opening statements and witness examination questions carefully. David would testify about his forensic findings and discoveries. I would testify about Sarah's secretive behavior during marriage. The hearing would determine temporary asset protection measures immediately. Emergency relief was necessary to prevent further theft by. The judge would decide on asset freezing and sanctions. This hearing would set the tone for entire case. Sarah finally admitted to taking some money from accounts. She claimed the money went to legitimate household expenses. Sarah's admission proved she had lied about everything previously. Her attorney tried to justify her client's actions unsuccessfully. They argued that Sarah had right to spend money. This defense strategy was weak and unconvincing to everyone. Sarah's admission actually helped our case against her significantly. She could no longer deny taking the money completely. The admission proved she had been lying during proceedings. Janet felt confident about our strong legal position now. I felt completely confident about our chances in court. The evidence against Sarah was overwhelming and undeniable too. David's forensic investigation had uncovered every detail of theft. Janet's legal strategy was comprehensive and well-planned for victory. Sarah's own admission proved her guilt beyond any doubt. The court system would protect me from her abuse. Justice was finally within reach after months of fighting. The courtroom hearing began at 9 o'clock sharp that morning. Judge Patricia Williams presided over our emergency financial hearing today. She had 30 years of experience handling complex divorce cases. Janet began presenting our evidence systematically and methodically to court. She explained how Sarah had stolen $75,000. The timeline showed Sarah's theft occurred over 6 months. Janet presented bank records showing the systematic cash withdrawals. Each piece of evidence built a stronger case against. The judge listened carefully and took detailed notes throughout. Janet's presentation was clear, organized, and completely professional in delivery. David took the witness stand to testify about his investigation. He explained his forensic accounting background and professional credentials clearly. David had analyzed over 3 years of financial records. His investigation revealed multiple methods Sarah used to steal. David testified about the cash withdrawals totaling $75,000. He explained the transfers to Sarah's secret personal account. David described the forged signatures on credit card applications. His testimony was detailed, technical, and completely damning against. The judge asked several questions about David's methodology, and David answered every question with precision and professional confidence. The judge reviewed our bank records and evidence carefully. She studied the forged signature samples that David provided. Judge Williams examined the credit card statements showing purchases. She looked at the insurance fraud documentation with interest. The judge asked Janet to clarify the timeline events. She wanted to understand exactly when each theft occurred. Judge Williams seemed particularly interested in the offshore account. The judge asked detailed questions about Sarah's business account. She was clearly trying to understand the full scope. The evidence was overwhelming, and the judge recognized immediately. Sarah's attorney attempted to justify her client's financial actions unsuccessfully. He claimed Sarah had every right to spend money. The attorney argued that household expenses justified the cash. He said Sarah's purchases were reasonable for their lifestyle. Sarah's lawyer tried to dismiss the forged signature evidence. He claimed the signatures were close enough to valid. The attorney's arguments sounded weak and desperate to everyone. Judge Williams looked skeptical throughout his entire presentation today. Sarah's defense was falling apart in real time before. The attorney knew his client was in serious legal. Judge Patricia Williams became visibly angry at Sarah's deception, and her facial expression changed dramatically as evidence was presented. The judge's voice became stern when addressing Sarah directly. She called Sarah's behavior calculated financial abuse and theft. Judge Williams said she had rarely seen such deception. She described Sarah's actions as a betrayal of trust. The judge was clearly disgusted by the systematic nature. Judge Williams said Sarah had planned her theft carefully. She noted the offshore accounts showed criminal intent clearly. The judge's anger was obvious to everyone in courtroom. The judge called Sarah's behavior calculated financial abuse and theft. She said Sarah had violated her fiduciary duty too. Judge Williams described the theft as systematic and premeditated. She noted that Sarah used multiple methods to money. The judge was particularly angry about the forged signatures. Judge Williams called the identity theft a serious crime. She said Sarah had shown complete disregard for law. The judge described Sarah's actions as morally reprehensible behavior. Judge Williams said she would not tolerate such deception. The judge's condemnation was harsh and completely justified given. Judge Williams ordered immediate asset recovery and financial penalties for Sarah must return the full $75,000 immediately. The judge added interest and penalties totaling $15,000. Sarah owed $90,000 in total restitution too. Judge Williams awarded me additional compensation for legal expenses. She granted me $25,000 for attorney fees. The judge also awarded punitive damages of $10,000. Sarah would pay over $125,000. Judge Williams froze all of Sarah's bank accounts immediately. The judge threatened criminal referral if Sarah didn't comply. Judge Williams said she would contact the district attorney. She described Sarah's actions as multiple felony crimes potentially. The judge gave Sarah 30 days to pay restitution. Any delay would result in criminal charges being filed. Judge Williams said she had zero tolerance for fraud. She would personally ensure Sarah faced full prosecution if the threat of criminal charges terrified Sarah completely, and Sarah's attorney looked shocked by the judge's harsh response. The criminal threat was unexpected but completely appropriate given. Sarah broke down crying as the judge delivered judgment. She realized the full consequences of her financial theft. Sarah's tears showed no remorse for her criminal actions. She was only crying because she got caught. The judge showed no sympathy for Sarah's emotional display. Judge Williams continued with her harsh sentencing despite tears. Sarah's crying was too little and too late for. She had destroyed our marriage and stolen my future. Sarah's breakdown was pathetic and completely self-serving in nature. The judge's reaction exceeded everyone's expectations in the courtroom. Sarah complied with the court order within 25 days completely. She returned the full $75,000 to account. Sarah also paid the $15,000 in interest. She transferred $25,000 for my legal expenses. Sarah paid the $10,000 punitive damages as the total restitution amounted to $125,000. Sarah had to liquidate her retirement accounts to pay. She sold her car and expensive jewelry to money. Sarah borrowed money from her parents to complete payment. The financial penalty devastated her personal finances completely and permanently. Justice was finally served after months of legal fighting. The divorce settlement heavily favored me due to Sarah's fraud. I received 65% of all our marital assets. Sarah's theft had consequences beyond just paying restitution back. The judge considered her financial abuse when dividing property. I kept our house and all the equity inside. Sarah received only her personal belongings and old car. The judge awarded me her retirement account as additional. Sarah lost her claim to half of my business. Her financial crimes destroyed her settlement completely and deservedly. The divorce outcome reflected the severity of her theft. Sarah lost her claim to half of my electrical business. The business was worth over $200,000. Sarah would have received $100,000 normally in. Her theft eliminated any claim to business assets entirely. I maintained full ownership and control of my company. Sarah's financial crimes cost her this significant asset permanently. The judge said her theft forfeited her rights. Sarah's greed backfired spectacularly in the final settlement today. She traded $100,000 for $75,000. Sarah's criminal behavior was financially devastating for her future. The judge granted me favorable custody terms for children. I received primary custody of our 2 young sons. Sarah would have supervised visitation only on weekends temporarily. Her financial crimes showed poor judgment and character. The judge worried about Sarah's influence on our. She would need counseling before gaining unsupervised custody rights. The custody arrangement protected my sons from Sarah's influence. Her theft had consequences beyond just financial penalties imposed. Sarah's criminal behavior affected every aspect of our lives. The judge prioritized the children's welfare above all considerations. I rebuilt my financial security with better oversight systems. I established separate personal and business bank accounts immediately. I monitor all financial activity personally every single week. Sarah will never have access to my money again. I hired a bookkeeper to help manage business finances. All major financial decisions require my personal approval now. I learned to never give anyone complete financial control. Trust must be earned and verified with documentation, always. My new systems protect me from future financial abuse. Financial independence became my top priority moving forward completely. I established separate accounts and monitor all financial activity. Every transaction gets reviewed by me personally each month. I use financial software to track all spending. No one else has access to my accounts. I require receipts for all business and personal expenses. Monthly bank statements get reviewed immediately upon arrival I learned that financial vigilance is absolutely essential for. Trust without verification led to my financial devastation previously. My new habits protect me from future theft. Financial awareness became a crucial life skill for me. I advise other men to stay involved in finances. Never give your spouse complete control over family money. Review bank statements and credit card bills monthly without. Ask questions about unusual spending or suspicious transactions immediately. Maintain separate accounts for personal emergency funds, always available. Know where every dollar of your money goes. Financial transparency should be required in every healthy marriage. Trust your instincts if something feels wrong about spending. Demand receipts and documentation for all major purchases made. Financial abuse is real and devastating to marriage victims. The experience taught me valuable lessons about trust, and trust must be earned through consistent actions over time. Verification is necessary even in close personal relationships today. Financial records tell the truth when people lie. Professional help is essential when facing financial fraud. Legal system protects victims, but requires strong evidence presentation. Forensic accountants can find hidden money and assets. Never ignore warning signs of financial deception or abuse. Document everything when suspicious financial activity occurs in relationships. Knowledge and vigilance prevent financial devastation from happening to. Marcus starts his new life with financial independence, and I have complete control over my money now. My business is thriving without Sarah's interference or theft. The boys are adjusting well to our new living. I feel proud of fighting for my financial rights. The legal victory restored my faith in justice completely. Sarah's theft ultimately made me stronger and wiser financially. I learned valuable lessons about protecting my assets properly. My future looks bright with proper financial management systems. Justice was served, and I can move forward. If you found this story satisfying, please hit the like button. If you have questions or similar experience, share in comments. Share this video if you know someone who needs this. Subscribe for more real-life justice stories like this one. Remember, trust, but always verify when it comes to money.